Then we go to the program, of course. So today we have a full program with a lot of different experts around our table. We start with the practical field of our business partners of the Upcycling Community, with a challenge pitch from Dirk van Manen from Duiny Group and a challenge pitch from Anne Steno from Wilgrove. And next we will continue with a presentation from Martijntje Vollebrecht of Wageningen Food Value-Based Research on a project, public-private partnership project about data sharing, together with one of our Upcycling Community partners, Yves Martinet from IFF, who is also involved as a partner in the Side project. Then we will come back to the challenges, and we will start a roundtable discussion with several different dimensions that will be brought to the table. Various speakers also online. Asker, Jens Smit from DTI, Danish Technology Institute. Jeske Bleker here at the tafel from NEN, National Standardization Organization, and Bram Brooks from PS1. All of you very much welcome. And please note that, of course, we want to have as much as possible interaction and to collect your experiences, thoughts, ideas, and also follow-up actions. So we will provide you several opportunities online, of course, via the chat. Sake and Miriam will support you to express your question here in the room. And of course, also live on location, you can, after the pitches or presentations, raise your hands and we will see how we can have as much as possible interaction with each other. And we will, of course, have a networking drink for the people here. That's a nice add-on to be here on location. So why data? It's a bit faster, I think. One back. Yeah, no problem. Yes, this one. So why data? Data analysis and data sharing is becoming increasingly important in the agri-food value chain, of course. Various supply chain partners already exchange data due to, of course, food quality, food safety reasons based on existing standards. But more and more data is needed to also make verifiable and traceable claims in relation to, amongst others, sustainability, but also health-related claims. So that will be also one of the key reasons for the partners in the Upcycling Community to improve the collaboration around data sharing. And also the various experts today around our table will provide examples of what's already happening and how we could maybe integrate sharing data on side streams and upcycled ingredients in those existing organizations or in those existing development projects that are going on. It's nice to share, of course, a bit of the background. We are here for an Upcycling Community meeting. The Upcycling Community exists now for 2.5 years. And you see some numbers for actually numbers. 43 is because we at the moment have 43 partners. 10 because we have a quite international community. They come from various countries. So we have at least 10 European countries represented in our community. And 2 because we launched already 2 initiatives in those 2 years. One of them is the publication of position paper on upcycled food ingredients, which will be not a static document, but we will continuously add knowledge and experiences and showcases of our partners to this paper. Amongst others, also the outcomes of today will be later on added to this position paper, and we will publish about that. And recently launched initiative Upcycled for Food, which aims to actually push and pull the demand for upcycled food and ingredients in food. And we have now a consortium of various supporting partners, which we will further progress into concrete product development ideas to see how we could, for certain upcycled ingredients, accelerate the uptake of those ingredients in end products, and of course also the offtake in the shelves and the shops. Some of our key drivers and barriers based on an acceleration session also around this data and data exchange topic last year came from our community partners here. So if we ask our partners, what type of topics are relevant for you, and do you see it as an opportunity to share data with each other? Again, of course, the composition of side streams is relevant information. We will hear more about that later. The volumes, environmental footprint, the novel food status of certain upcycled ingredients, regulatory status of a certain raw material. So there are several opportunities relevant, but there are also barriers. So of course, a well-known one, IP, it's also sensitive to share data. So data protection is also an important topic. And of course, also the quality of data. So how do you compare the right type of characteristics, indicators with each other? And of course, the availability of data. That's also top of mind when we talk about this topic within our community. So to hear a bit more about how our partners develop and work on data and data exchange, I would like to give a warm welcome first for you, Anna Milko, to also share a bit more about your organization and how you work on side streams and data exchange. And I would like to hand over the floor to you.
Yeah.
How you like? Speaker might not work as we expect, so just let me know maybe when I can change the slide for you. That's one for you. I'm not sure it works, but
Let's see.
does it?
No.
Oh, no. Then I'll be your.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, you can click.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, a small introduction about Milgo for the ones who don't know us. My name is Anne van Steenhoven. I work for Milgo in the food team. So that means that I work with food companies to make sure we are heading towards a waste-free world in 2040. It's a very ambitious goal. I don't think we're going to reach it, but it's a nice mission. And Milgo is a specialist in sustainable waste management. Our technology creates insights. We work with a lot of data from our production partners and also from the receivers that are receiving the waste streams. And these insights enable us to optimize sustainability within supply chains. And also, we're looking into reducing the total cost of waste. And lastly, we try to provide companies with a better service of waste management. This is is an overview of how we work. Gives a little bit insight in our waste management system. So in the middle, you see the Milgo platform. And we work on the right side with a network of 500 different waste processing companies and logistical partners. They pick up the waste at our clients, and we make sure that it's done in the best way for that particular product, because each product needs a different service. All the different locations, they can contact us through phone or portal or whatever. And we will provide a dashboard with all the information about the waste streams and also one monthly invoice, which makes it easy to work with us. And then most importantly, of course, we have an accounting with a circular economy officer, which is my role, and a waste engineer that are looking into the waste streams. So we look at all the data, and we look at how we can make more impact regarding ecological impact, economic impact, and service. So that's Milgo shortly. Well, we're talking about data today. And for us, data is still something we work with every day, but I don't think we're collecting now the right data to make sure we can do more upcycling into food, which is, of course, the most interesting. We're doing a lot of upcycling to feed, but of course, food is the higher rail that we want to reach. So a lot of flows are coming into our company, and they are categorized as category 3 material, or just bread, or salad, or whatever. And we don't have the details yet of which ingredients are used in particular. So is it lettuce, is it cucumbers, is it tomatoes? And of course, we also then need to know what variety, origin, and why did the product drop out? That's of course also an important reason. Was it because of mold or the ripening process, residues? And also, is it structurally available or is it only a few months a year during harvest season? And this is a lot of information, and I think that was also key in the previous slides. But I think that will be the only way that we can actually start matching side streams with upcycling partners that want to do something with it. And then, of course, there are some logistical challenges because we are not Downy, so we are not working with these huge side streams that are available in the market. We are working also with companies that produce a few tons of side stream a year. And then how do you work with these small batches? Often these production companies don't have huge refrigerators where they can store it. It needs to be chilled. Transport costs are high for small batches. So these are the challenges also that we're facing as a company. It's a little bit insight in how we deal with data.
Thank you so much, Anne. And also, I think a nice conversation starter to have later on also see how other partners in the value chain can support that. I'm checking here the audience and also online. Are there already questions in the direction of Anna? Questions for clarification or
one?
Yeah.
What is the biggest developments you have seen in the last couple of years in terms of data in this sector? Biggest change, if there's any.
Yes, I think because there are more questions about what is exactly in the side streams, and people see that it's more important to do something more valuable with the side streams. I think also the request for data from the companies that want to do something with the side stream are becoming bigger and more on the foreground, which is good because that also helps us to put a little bit of pressure on the production companies to do something with it. So also society is putting more pressure on making sure we don't put everything into biogas production, but do something more valuable with it.
So is your current platform for data collection tied into some kind of business model, or is it really to monitor your progression towards your sustainability goals?
Both. It's for our clients, so they know exactly also what they're producing, how much loss they have, how much they're wasting at the moment of certain streams. And at the same time, it's also helping us to provide better services. So it's
right.
Two ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Okay.
And we will, of course, continue later on during the round table. And then I would like to give the floor to Dirk.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Dirk Vermaelen, working at Downy Group for more than 30 years. And I built up together with my colleagues the company till what it is now. And I'm responsible for corporate affairs, which means I'm responsible for legal compliance, quality assurance, issue management, and sustainability is one of the issues which is on my desk. And upcycling is, of course, one of the main parts of sustainability. And it is just right in the scope of our main activities. Downy is part of Cozen together with other feed producing companies, and Downy consists of Downy Feed, which buys and sells co-products from the food industry towards the animal husbandry, mainly the dairy farmers, the pig farmers, and Novidon, which receives side stream starch from the crisp and the French fries industry. And there the starch is refined and partly modified with applications towards the paper industry, the glue industry, the offshore industry, mainly technical applications so far. Then Downy Ingredients, where co-products are processed to make them suitable for application in the diet of pet animals, so for the pet food industry, but also, and that's a development of last year, we also produce food ingredients at that company. And then AgriBiosource, the company that sells the products towards the biomethanization, so producing biogas out of co-products, for the products which cannot be applicated in the 3 formerly mentioned business groups. Next slide, please. Dyne is active in 19 European countries, in which we have an office at least, and in some countries also production locations. But the mainstream of our products is straight from the producer or the food industry towards our clients. And some applications we need to process, and then we have factories in those countries. Next slide, please. This is in fact our business model. On the left-hand side, the food, the beverage industry, even the biofuel industry supplies us with co-products, and Dyne looks at the optimal value of the co-product in several markets: the energy, technical applications, feed, pet food, and the food industry. And altogether, on a yearly basis, approximately 6 million tons or cubic meters of co-products. And some examples of it is Cargill, which is a large supplier of us, producing wheat solubles, or Heineken, a large brewer, of course, supplying us with brewers and grain. Avico and other potato processors supplying us with potato co-products. Now, so you can go on in each type of industry which is processing primary agriculture products, we are a parent. In this slide, on the left-hand side, you see what data we do generate. I made more summarized the composition of analytical parameters like nutritional value, rheological parameters, concerning the health and safety aspects, of course, the chemical contaminations and the microbiological contaminations, and last but not least, also environmental aspects of data, which is an emergent activity of generating data at the moment. On the right-hand side, sharing the data. We share a lot of data with our customers, our potential customers in the food, pet food, the technical sector, bioenergy sector. We share also data with our suppliers, and which is a lot in a lot of cases, and not only for having or sharing those data, but we collaborate often with our suppliers with generating the obligatory data which they need for their authorities, and in cooperation with our company we share those data. Furthermore, we share ourselves data with authorities and NVWA. That's a Dutch situation, but also be aware we do that also in Belgium and France with authorities in those member states. And with quality assurance organizations, I mentioned the organization in the field, but also in the food sector and other sectors, we share data with the quality assurance organizations. Not in the last place, because we have ourselves also the certificates of those quality systems. And next slide, which is just an example why we sometimes hesitate to share data. And this is an example which took place, I think, 2 years ago. All of you must have seen it in the media. PFAS, everybody talking about it, but no one knows anything about it. And we did some analysis on it, but we hesitated to share because PFAS, what are you talking about? More than 9,000 different stuffs, which surprised me. The toxicity, what is the impact on animal or human health?
So maybe just for the online audience, I'm not sure if everybody's aware of what the PFAS is and what the issues are. To clearly,
I don't know what the question is.
no, maybe I'm not sure if the online audience is aware of what the PFAS situation, like what the
Maybe very shortly, what is PFAS?
It is one of the stuffs which is found in the environment, in the ground or in the water, and it says human can be infected or contaminated with that, and it might harm human persons. However, to my surprise, yesterday I saw a report of the RIVM in which was stated that they even don't know how much PFAS is in the bodies at this moment. So they have to do their homework again. But nevertheless, it was a large rumor especially in the Netherlands, I think. We did not know anything about the carryover. When an animal eats PFAS contaminated feed, how much of that PFAS is coming into the milk or into the meat, we did not know. There were no max levels in feed. There were different analysis methods. It was unclear which of the 9,000 molecules should be analyzed on. There was no information about the levels in feed source at all. And there was nothing known about the possible concentration of the PFAS in the co-product. As you understand, when you analyze the wheat, it can be a sound product, but it can concentrate in the co-product instead of the main product. And then you have another discussion. So just an example which has been passed for us because we know now all answers on most of these aspects, and we are absolutely sure that our products are safe. Nevertheless, we have had a lot of worries about sharing data of this towards the authorities, towards our suppliers even, towards our customers, of course. So that's one of the dilemmas why we hesitate to share data. So that's the first bullet, the authorities. Insecurity about legislation, determination methods, max levels. But we hesitate also because of our competitors, because we often do not know about the levels in all the products when you talk about health and safety aspects. But on the other hand, that's more the positive side of the data. We often find positive components in our co-products which contribute to health and safety, for instance, or contribute to higher nutritional value. But we don't want to share it because we fear that our competitors take possession of that knowledge and we might lose our lead towards our competitors. So that's one very important factor why we hesitate to share information. Then the preference to confirm result before sharing, and that's more scientific. The scientific people recognize this immediately. You can have some data, you can have some information about what you found, but you share, you were trying to find at first the context of your knowledge. You find a certain data, but you try to grasp why is it so, and you want to know what are the effects of what you have found, and that's more the scientific way. And in innovation processes is often the cause of the value to death, and the value of that in the innovations is you have made the proof of principle, but before you start to build a factory, you absolutely want to be sure that you're doing right what you intend to do. And that's a feat for scientifics, but often slows down the innovation process. So that's very important to understand. And as a decision maker, you have to decide what you choose, security or the quickness of your innovation process, especially when you develop new products. And for your information, Dani also collaborates with projects in Wageningen in which new hazards are investigated when you develop new products out of co-products. And that's what we learned in the last year when we developed products for the food applications, that you accompany new hazards. Now, the last point of my contribution is the expertise concerning the impact on the market position. You often know a lot about your products, but you hesitate to share because you don't know exactly what is the impact on the appreciation of your product on your prospects or the customer. And you surely would like to leverage with other similar products. So if you found, and it could be a negative, but also a very positive effect, component in your product, at first you do a lot of literature search on the same component to find what in what other products is it apparent, what are the effects. Are you absolutely sure that what you're telling is right? And then you go to share those data. So yeah, that's, I think, the 4 bullet points, the main aspects which came on my mind when I thought, what are the dilemmas of sharing data?
Thank you, Dirk, for this complete overview and also making us aware of all that is part of your company with respect to sharing data. I see also a lot of links with, for example, the public-private partnership project that we will discuss now, but also for a roundtable discussion, it may be already nice for also our online participants to think about questions to address to you later around your challenge. How could we, as suppliers or as customers, enable you to maybe collaborate with each other, sharing important data, sharing data that can help you to progress with your innovations and to prove what you know and what you can. Yeah. So for now, many thanks. I think due to the time that we have for a program, that we will continue with our next speaker. And then please, for the online audience, share already your questions in the chat so we can pick them up for the roundtable. Yep. Thank you. I think it's online. Martijntje will be then online.
Yes, I'm online.
Are you there, Martijntje?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is for the people here around the table because we cannot see you. This is Martijntje Vollebrecht from Wageningen Food Bio-Waste Research. And she will explain a bit more about the SIDED project, which is a public-private partnership which aims to develop an AA-based decision support system, which makes decisions around the applications for side streams and upcycled ingredients easier and faster. Various private partners, also partners of the Upcycling Community, IFF and Unilever are involved in that one as well. And the project started in April, so it's all quite fresh. So Martijntje will briefly explain where we are now and also more about the project plan and different work packages. It's up to you, Martijntje.
Yeah, Caroline, thank you very much. You see a different topic here on the slide, so I will jump into that. Don't worry, but just let me shortly say, my name is Martijntje Vollebrecht. I'm working as researcher and project leader in Wageningen Food and Bio-Waste Research, which is one of the research institutes that, together with the departments from the university, we are Wageningen University and Research. And indeed, today I will tell you something about our public-private partnership project that started April of this year. And I think I saw also Yves Martinet from IFF being present in the call, and they are one of our partners as well. So I think you will also hear from her after I've presented the slides. But before I go into that project, I would like to share this slide with you actually. We have been submitted new public-private partnership IDs in September, and one of those I think we think has a nice fit with the upcycling community of Food Valley, and that is the Food to Food project ID. It will run for the next 3 years, and we are looking into upcycling of food side streams into high valued applications, ideally towards foods and food ingredients, to improve resource use of the materials available to us, but also analyzing economic part of it, so associated production costs, and also the environmental impact by looking into the CO2 footprints of possible valorization or upcycling routes of the side stream materials. And we follow a 3-step approach with some iterations and loops in it. We'll first look into valorization options, and then we'll do some validations for uncertainties that we have. And then we'll move on to upcycling, upscaling of the upcycling concepts if they are deemed interesting by the consortium. And for the upcycling options, we make use of an advanced software tool that we have developed in the past, and that makes use of several data sources as well. And that always comes with some challenges, as were just highlighted as well. So reliability of the data, confidentiality of the data, are you willing to share it or not? So in our tool, we also try to do analysis to look into which parameters of everything that we can vary are most determining the outcomes, in our case, towards the costs or the environmental impact, so that we know what data value should be as good estimated as possible and might need validation with experiments or other work. So we wanted to share this idea with you. The ID has been submitted to TKI, but the consortium is open for expansion. So if you're interested, let us know. From each participating company, we ask 12,500 euros cash contribution and similar, more or less similar input in kind as well. If you're interested, let me know. You can contact me via the details that are in the slide later, or you can do it via Caroline or somebody else from Food Valley as well. That being said, I would like to move to the PPP side date. Thank you. Yeah, the project has to do with making use of very advanced tools to support the side stream valorization. We just started in April, and it will run for 3 years. So this year, next year, and the year after that. You go to the next slide, please. Oh, the text became very small. Well, maybe I have to move a bit closer to the screen if you cannot read it, but the slides will be shared later.
We can read it here. For the live audience, it's okay.
Okay, well, for myself as presenter, it's also a bit challenging, so I will have to zoom into a bit. But the overall challenge that we are working on is of course the amount of side streams or even waste, if it's not valorized already, a bit higher, that are occurring in our food production system all along the food chain, from farmers, growers, and so on, all the way until customers. And this, of course, comes with an impact, not only in economically wise, but also, of course, in environmental wise. So we really want to contribute to looking into this challenge, also related to that resources are becoming more and more scarce. There's a growing world population. There are challenges regarding land use, but also climate change, etc. So we better make the most of all the agro materials that are becoming available to us. So together with our project partners, I will come to that in the next slide. We want to see how we can bring improve this resource use efficiency of the materials that we have available. Of course, this is not something new. I mean, many people are already doing that. Also, very often in terms of large volumes, for instance, think about side streams from potato industry or something like that. But however, very often there's a certain focus on a few major products, major side streams, but there's much more side stream material out there that can potentially have better destinations than, for instance, use in biogas or composting, or even ending up in landfill. So from this challenge, our project identified a certain knowledge gap and therefore also an objective. So we think it's worthwhile to improve the understanding of all the side stream resources, components, and their applications. So how do you bring this all together? And what kind of information and data is needed for that? And is already available out there at companies that are already working with this or generating these materials themselves, but also in scientific literature, databases that are existing, and so on. So we really want to bring all this information together. So in order to do that, we formulated that we want to develop an artificial intelligence-based decision support framework with use of certain underlying technologies for that. So that's our ultimate goal, to develop this decision support framework that can help speeding up this process and eventually realizing much more high valued use of all the side stream materials that we have available. So that's also the impact that we go for, together with our partners and also others around us. Of course, Food Valley is actually also one of the project partners, so we definitely hope to be able to inform all the parties connected to Food Valley, especially, of course, also the upcycling community. Can you go to the next slide, please? So to summarize it all in one sentence, actually, Yves, I was inspired by what you by how you are phrasing this. So I took this from you. So summarizing it, the ambition and the goal of the project is to leverage the latest data technologies to make predictions regarding side stream valorization in a faster and more reliable way by using publicly available data and also company available data. So that's what we are doing. I already mentioned IFF is one of our project partners, but next to that also Unilever and Ingredient. Well, these three companies, I think everybody in the call will know them, of course, and potentially they are also generating side streams from the operations that they are having, but they are also all three interested in making high valued ingredients out of agro materials that are available. And that includes, of course, also the potential of side streams that are now not directly used as food. Next to that, sorry, that's a bit too quick. Other partners include Food Valley. So I already said we are very happy to have them, of course, on board, but also the Access Materials Exchange. And they already have a data platform in place that actually aims to bring together people that have side streams and potential users of the side stream materials. And furthermore, the final partner is the Amsterdam Data Collective, and they will help us with challenges that we will be facing regarding data, and that includes, for instance, carefully managing and dealing with confidential data from companies that we would like to include. Well, this project has a certain setup in work packages, as you see here. Of course, there will be project management and dissemination. But besides that, the main elements are seen here. So the first work package focuses on developing these AI tools. So how can we do this knowledge generation extraction with use of different tools, especially with use of several tools that we have available in our institute itself, but of course supported by many software possibilities that are nowadays available, and actually our new developments are popping up like each week or so. of course, we need to do this in the context of our side stream valorization, which we are already working on longer. And therefore, in work package 3, below work package 1, we are developing this multi-criteria decision-making approach based on expert knowledge that we have internally available, and that is also very important to extract which criteria, identifiers, and so on are useful and needed for decision support on this topic, and underlying that, what kind of data do you actually need? And on the right side, you see the main elements of the AI decision framework. We need to have a back end and a front end. So we need to make this all work together in a software environment. And that's also a major task within our project. We will do this from 2 different perspectives. So we are not only looking at, okay, you have a certain side stream material or waste stream or byproduct, and how do you come to any high valued applications? That's one of the perspectives that we will look at, so the upcycling of a given side stream. But we also want our decision support framework to be able to look from a different perspective. What if you would like to replace a certain ingredient with an alternative ingredient that originates from side stream? So eventually our data software system is supposed to be able to be used from both of these perspectives. We just started in April, so no very concrete results that we can show with you yet, but we hope, of course, to be able in the future to continue giving updates towards the upcycling community of Food Valley. And if you want to know more about the project, feel free to contact us.
Thank you so much, Martijntje, for, of course, sharing all those plans and also the setup of the project. I think also a lot of opportunities for us to collaborate to see how we can check the business criteria for valorization options with the community partners, of course. We will do that later on as well, with surveys or other ways to collect your input and feedback, but that will be of later concern. For now, it's good at least to know for our community partners that we are running this project, and we will, of course, disseminate all knowledge that comes out from it to our partners. And this is, I think, also a really nice moment to hear from you, Ev, a bit more about your drivers to also decide from the IFF perspective to become a consortium partner here.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Caroline. I think to reinforce a bit what Martijntje explained, I would like to share a bit of a testimonial of why we decided to engage into that project. And I'm going to share a bit my journey in innovation around upcycling of food ingredients, which is a journey I started at IFF about 2.5 years ago, when I took the leadership of an innovation program dedicated to waste reduction, waste prevention, but also waste reduction by upcycling, which was a new approach for us as a company. And I was then really convinced and driven by the purpose that we need to do better as a food industry. There is too much waste, and we need to use this waste, keep it in the human food value chain, where there is still a lot of need to ensure better food security and reduce the carbon footprint of the food industry. So that was the intent. And when I took the position, I started talking to food waste experts, and I realized there was a lot of data gaps. So we joined the community. We talked to experts at the Wageningen, and I think yes, there was a bit of scientific literature. There was some ingredients that were upcycled and already commercially available, but it was a very unknown and wide space. So we decided to learn by doing. And we started in an exploration phase where we looked at what were our own side streams, but we also offered our valorization capabilities. I mean, at IFF, we are one of the largest food ingredient suppliers, so we have a lot of technological capabilities. And we proposed that to our customers, the large waste stream owners, to see what we could bring new ideas, bring new usage for their side streams. So we collected samples, we sent these samples around the world in our labs, internal labs, external labs, talking to experts, have done a lot of analysis, have done a lot of lab work. You can imagine it was quite a lot of resources engaged into the process. And then we bumped into different issues, which were, if I cluster a bit the issues we have been facing, they were around how can we make competitive cost ingredients? We looked at different functionalities of flavor or texture or nutrition with protein or fibers, and these are, there are incumbent material on the market. There are already there is a benchmark. So it has proven very difficult to show cost competitiveness for the new solutions we were proposing, and I think that's even more true in the current economic landscape that we are in the recession or struggling economical situation. So that's an area where I realized, okay, we need to do better in our prediction. How can we be more cost effective? And the second issue was, how can we prove we do have sustainability benefits? Because the intent is there, but really there are a lot of unknown on how much processing we apply to these side streams. Maybe yes, we have a saving because we use a side stream, and the LCA analyses are about less, that you put the burden on the main raw material and so much on the side stream. So we all start with the idea that working from a side stream is more beneficial in terms of environmental impact, but often we apply a lot of transportation and other processing, which can be energy intensive. And it's like this big question, are we doing the right thing in terms of sustainability? And I have seen some cases where actually we stopped some projects because we were seeing, okay, it's too much energy for the extraction, it's too much energy for the drying, doesn't make sense to do it. So we learned a lot, we generated a lot of data, we still face these issues, and I came to the conclusion that is something we cannot address on our own. These are issues that are common to the food industry, and there is AI coming up. There is all of these data analysis tools coming up that we need to use to be more predictive. Our human brains have their limitations. Mine certainly, and I really need the support from experts on how we can train models, how we can build and train models to make better predictions. So this framework, the kind of consortium or pre-competitive framework, I think it was something that was giving us confidence to build this knowledge, right? Because we have partners which are bringing their expertise, which are bringing their view. And also there is this framework on how we are going to exchange data. I think the primary goal is to use as much as possible public information. So there is a lot of information in the bibliography, but it's really diluted in different databases. So we first want to use that as a first source of information, but also partners will have the opportunity to share their own data and have them run into the model. So that's, Martin said we started in April. It's still very fresh. We'll be working on the first case study, so still quite a lot of work ahead of us. But definitely I'm quite excited about that. I have high expectation for the project, and I hope that in 3 years from now, we have a tool that will be useful for us or for other partners of the community.
Sounds super good, Eve. Thank you for your explanation and also sharing your experience, your journey towards finding the data to also make those business analysis more accurate and more fast. And good to hear as well how you approach this in a pre-competitive way in this project, of course, and to see how we can also learn from the way of making use of AI and technology as a community, of course, as well. And within this project, we will, of course, not maybe on specific cases, but more like the technological outcomes and the way that those data can be shared with each other, learn, and also develop value chain partnerships. So thank you for now. I think I heard some questions in the chat.
Yes, we have two questions lined up. Maybe just to go over them. First off, from Manon from Greenspot. She asked actually after Anne her pitch in the beginning, how you, when you say you're looking for use cases more valuable than biogas, what's your definition of value? And how do you measure that?
I think in general we look at a lot of balancing.
Yeah.
You know, I would say it in English.
The food hierarchy
Food hierarchy.
environment.
Food hierarchy
Yeah.
environment, yeah, exactly. And that's the way we measure in general.
Yeah. We have another question from Daniel Koch, which is a couple of questions in one, actually. Daniel, I don't know if you can hear me and would like to ask this question yourself.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Yeah, I was wondering when you talk about side stream valorization, you can say what's first, the chicken or the egg? Are you developing a new ingredient and saying, okay, maybe somebody can use it? Or is it like you always try to have an industry partner who says, that's what I could use? And then you try to develop out of side streams a new ingredient for this specific customer, so to speak. Is that clear, more or less, what I wanted to
Yeah,
ask?
I think it's pretty clear, and I can give my answer. I need to leave in 2 minutes, so I'll start answering. I think both options will be open in the Side 8 project. How do we check the interest of the idea for the market? I think in the partners, we have some leading companies in ingredient and in consumer food products manufacturer. So we have market experts of the food industry who knows what's existing, and then they know what's existing, what is the cost, what are the functionality expectation of what's already existing. So that's we have this knowledge of the existing industry. Now there will be different approach in terms of, to show the added value, we need to define what is the benchmark. And it's going to be easier to do that if we target something that is already available. I think in the case of IFF, I will talk just for us, but I think our interest would be first to start replacing or producing ingredients that we use today in big volumes for the production of our own ingredients, replace that with something upcycled because it is better in terms of cost, in terms of sustainability. You know, that's we have identified a new source to have an upcycled source for something we use already today. But I'm sure along the process, along the journey, we'll find new use, and then the matter will be to find, okay, what is the value proposition for these new ingredients? It will take longer time for the industry to adopt them, to understand the value, to formulate with that. That's also fine. That's also very good, but it's just, in my experience, something that takes longer time when you introduce something new to the market.
Thank you.
Because of the time, Ev, thank you also for joining us today. We realize that you have to go to another meeting, so yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you. Yes, I think a good moment also to check in with our pictures. Super briefly, if you can share the screen for the challenges. I would like to first give the opportunity for speakers to introduce themselves, tell a bit more about our organizations and organization, and next ask Anne and Derek to, in 30 seconds, super quick, explain the challenge that we will discuss in our round table. May I start with you, Jeske?
Yes, of course. Jeske Leka, I work at NAN. NAN is the Dutch Normalization Institute. So we are the portal to the European and in the international standardization. And we work with stakeholders together to make agreements on all kinds of topics. And we work with our basis is that we have consensus between all the different stakeholders. And one of our main concerns is that it is with all parties concerned. So it's when you want to have an agreement, we always check all stakeholders in the field if they want to join as well to make the standard or the agreement, you can think of standardized analysis methods, or well, actually all kinds of different standards. Today I'm interested in the topic of food waste, because ISO, the International Standardization Organization, works on a management system on food loss and waste. And they also have a collaboration with a committee who works on agri data systems. Yeah, that might be of interest for the parties here.
Perfect. Yeah, it's also, I think, a good moment to at least create the awareness around this new upcoming standard, and also see maybe how it could be relevant to do the monitoring and reporting of the upcycled ingredients maybe in the future. Yeah. So it's, of course, in development, but it's a good moment to at least connect developments and initiatives with each other. Yeah, definitely. So thank you. Next to you is Bram.
Yep.
Could you also give an introduction of yourself and your organization?
Yeah, my name is Bram Broeks. I work for GS1 Netherlands. I'm the CCO there, the commercial officer, responsible for our industries and our partnerships. GS1 is, for those who don't know, we are well known because of the barcode. Once you scan a product and you want to buy it at a retail store, you need a barcode on that one. This is one of our standards, but it's not the only one. We are a global not-for-profit organization working in approximately 120 countries. Well known for our product identification. So we do identification, collection of data, and also sharing of data. If you look at the industries we serve, the food industry is an important industry. This is also where we originated from, but we are also in healthcare, in textiles, apparel, constructions. This is what we do. So we are also a standardization organization governed by our members. So I recognize a lot what you're saying. A lot of ask to our organization is now really from a circular economy perspective. So really looking at the upstream, but also the downstream. In textiles and apparel, for example, we're doing some initiatives in trying to identify textiles that are recycled, for example. Can we identify those? Because if we can identify it, we can also define it and we can reuse it. And so there are some parallels, I think, in the food industry, where I think, from my perspective, at least from the world with our world, a couple of industries are a little bit more advanced than the food system in this perspective. And my biggest ask for this is where can we support, because we're quite big in the food industry from farm to fork, but it's on a product level and not on an ingredient level. So if there is a need to identify ingredients in that perspective so that we can scale up initiatives, share data more easy, cross industry, make it interoperable in that sense. So this is, I think, what is of our interest, or where we can support, where we shouldn't, and that's also what we're seeing. We're not waiting until there's an agreement between all industry parties, because we cannot wait for that agreement. So we see also from our side that we are very much involved really in also small innovative projects to see where we can already add value and potential for scaling up initiatives.
Yes, super interesting. And I think it's also an opportunity to see and to have learnings from the textile industry, to see indeed are those type of data exchange options to see, okay, what type of materials are recycled, also potentially valuable for the agri-food sector as well. Of course, what you already addressed, you are not going to support on ingredient level, but more on a product level. There could also be an option to test or to interact to see how, if there are wood-bearing standard for upcycled food, and there would be clear definitions and labels for that in the market, then how could maybe also use one and with, for example, QR code support that type of like traceability and visibility around this specific characteristic to share upcycled ingredient, for example. So might be the far future for now.
Yeah, that is a near future in that perspective. So we're stepping out of the QR code or the barcode as we know, the 1G code. By 2027, the industry has agreed to move to a 2D barcode. The QR code is GS1, and that is also scannable by us as a consumer in that perspective. And that will leverage a whole lot of new data and information demand, because then you can communicate with your end consumer, both from a food producer but also from a retailer perspective. And you see there the trustworthiness of data, of certifications, then becomes a big topic, or is already a big topic in that perspective. So if you claim that part of your ingredients is upskilled in that perspective, then you have to prove it, because the end consumer is also one of the stakeholders that comes into play.
Yeah, super important to make use of, but also to fully understand how that could work for this upcycled food market possibly. Thank you for your introduction. Online we have also Oscar Munch-Schmidt-Jensen. Yes, there you are. We will spotlight you for everyone.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. As Caroline said, I'm Asger. I'm with the Danish Technological Institute, and we're a research and technology organization in Denmark, focusing on a range of industries. Specifically, I cover the food industry, and we do a range of different work within the food industry, covering everything from ideation and product development to testing and scaling and validating. This could be sustainability assessments. It could be assessing PFAS in a product, for example, or we also engage in a lot of public-private partnerships where we have the sort of role of gathering consortiums and so on. And specifically, we've worked in that regard within upcycling quite a lot, and have some ongoing projects on upcycling in Denmark, and are also starting some new initiatives that have the aim of increasing the data sharing for upcycling. So a specific case would be that we have a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables that are being thrown out in Denmark, and how can we create a platform for sort of trading those and matching maybe small scale side stream suppliers with large scale utilizers, or the other way around, someone large scale with a lot of smaller utilizers. So those are some of the things that we're looking into. Yeah.
Great, thank you to introduce yourself, and also, of course, we will keep you spotlighted to make sure that you can also interact around our table. Because it would be nice to also go to the challenges and to see with your knowledge and with your and all you know about the upcoming developments and projects, how we could maybe provide solutions, or how we could maybe even improve collaborations. And that's then also, after our conversation, one of the questions that we have to our audience with a small survey to see, okay, where are the follow-up actions needed? What can we do also as Food Valley to support you to make the next step there? So the first challenge was from Anna from Milgo. It was of course about monitoring and tracing data on composition, origin, treatments, logistic history of waste streams, and also operational challenges that you face. And I think if I summarize it right, one of the key questions that could be answered around the table is, okay, what type of incentives would there be to integrate management of food grade side streams from the source within other parts of the value chain? So you work, of course, on that as a Milgo, and how could we make sure that the suppliers of those waste slash side streams, that makes a huge difference, of course, in terms of the legal status, but could also be involved much more in providing those data to make sure that you indeed create also options to trade, to find higher destinations for those streams, considering the food hierarchy. There's somebody from our experts who wants to give some reflections on that.
If I can, I have at least one reflection that we saw. We did a sort of an assessment of some of the upcycling barriers in Denmark at one point, and one of the key barriers that we highlighted there was just the fact that I think for actually a lot of the side streams that are available at a larger scale, there is already some degree of let's say there's already a solution or that they fit to. So for example, we've looked a lot at sort of pulp from pressing of various juices and so on, and that it can be quite interesting to utilize those in multiple ways, and a thing that's sort of missing to make that available is just the matching of the right suppliers and the right utilizers of the side streams, and in a lot of the cases, the utilizers might be very small, but if you bring many together, then maybe you can take on a large amount of a specific side stream from food production. So our argument becomes, if we can facilitate that match, then you can make a sort of an economic argument that or you can make the connection between the right people, and you can then there's the possibility for an economic exchange. It represents some value, the side stream, and there's a storytelling argument in also both the utilization of the side stream and the supplying of the side stream, and not just throwing it to biogas, for example.
Yeah.
So that becomes sort of a little bit of a storytelling perspective, and the barrier that we see towards that is just getting the right match, and not there. Obviously, there are also some technical barriers, but it's just starting out. It's just beneficial to raise awareness, basically.
Very clear points to start actually from the perspective of the potential customer, and also bring those customers to the trade platforms that are out there to at least make clear what the value would be for them to start making use of the side streams, instead of starting from the technical opportunity without having the match.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Nice.
From my perspective, in more from a practical side, I see the same dilemma. In fact, the food producer is mainly interested in the main product, not in the side streams. And as a partner, you have to take care of the side stream in all of its aspects, and often you have to generate the data yourself. That's also what Dani does. Hardly none of our suppliers is determining the nutritional value of co-products. That's what we are doing. Also, obligatory components, often we do. And we let them pay for it, of course, via the money we pay them for the co-product. But in fact, it's a matter of sort of outsourcing of the problem.
Yeah, but at least there you already have like a trade relation where you see the value stream, because otherwise you would not collect it or not like valorize it in the direction of livestock. This for most of the streams that you have. But
often
there are also
not existing yet. So often we are working with companies that don't know each other yet. So then how to find each other, that's a more complicated one than you already having your whole group of companies where you produce already the potatoes, for example, and also use a side stream product.
It's nice to compare it, because you can indeed also think about a future where you would like facilitate the supplier, at the same time also potential customer, but then you the volume and the seasonality, and also the volume, of course, is one of the driving factors to enable that. Do you see there opportunities to, based on data, maybe easier or faster distinguish those type of streams that could have the potential to collect in a scaled approach, or to you have like
definitely, and also of course it depends very much on the side stream. It makes a big difference if you're working with lettuce or with something that can be frozen or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we start with the products that are that can be used for a longer period of time, I think we can start there. But then of course companies should be interested in taking up these streams. And I think that's still the biggest challenge that we see in the field.
Yeah, data probably could also help there to safeguard the concerns around food safety, food quality. Of course, there are maybe first like experimental collaborations, and later on maybe more like more commercialized trials. How do you do that? Are you also in like kind of exploring phase with like potential suppliers to see what the potential applications could be?
Yes, and now it's mostly supply driven. So for example, we talked to a supplier of
Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts, thank you. They have lots of Brussels sprouts that have a little damage, and of course it can be used in many different ways. And then we start looking for an interested taker of the product that can process it, for example, in baby pots for food or something. But yeah, that's still going one way to the other, and of course it would be interested if you have a pool of uptakers that tell already, okay, we need that ingredient in that way, specified, and not too specific, because that will be very difficult to find the side stream, but more generic. Yeah.
What I think of when I look at the developments on the ISO work on the management system, they are also trying to get to start new work on a specification which gives different methods, measurement methods and quantification methods, but also for reporting on food loss and waste. And that might be helpful for because it's from farm to fork. And with those developments, I think it's easier for companies to provide data and to be clear on where in the stream their waste occurs. And that might be helpful for companies like you to know in what way those data are collected, so that you can also compare between different companies, and maybe the value of the streams. Is that something that might be more helpful for you, or?
If I get your question well, you mean focusing on what kind of data is provided?
Yeah, because if you when you know that they have how the data is collected or how they are reporting on their streams, is that more value to you, or?
I think we could know that already, because we also talk to our clients and they can also provide us that data. But it's more that we also didn't manage our systems yet, that these are able to specify the system in such a way that we collect all the data. So it's also an adaptation of the system in order to make sure that we collect the right data.
We had a hand raised from Martijntje. Would you still like to add to the discussion, Martijntje?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, I was not sure if that was allowed, so that's why I withdrew my hand again. Yeah, there are still, I think, many challenges to overcome to really realize this also in a future-proof way. And that, of course, includes also availability of data and willingness to share data and having reliable data, and be realistic with some aspects that might be quite difficult to overcome. So, for instance, not year-round available volumes of materials. And we were just talking about the Brussels sprouts example. They are not harvested year-round, and they are occurring at a certain moment in time. So that requires also some flexibility from the part of a person, a company that would be willing to make use of this kind of the resulting ingredients, for instance. So I think that's quite an important aspect to be aware of, and also see it as, hopefully, corporations will see this as a joint journey into perhaps some unknown aspects as well. So what's the potential of the material that you might have available on one hand, and how does that fit with application functionalities that you have from the application side? And that, of course, also requires exchange of data and information, but also doing it jointly together, and knowing from one side and the other side what are important aspects, what are important things that we need to clarify more, or that we need to investigate in how that can be influenced. So a push from one side will most definitely not function, and I think that's still difficult to realize and to have the same starting point in this journey.
But I like the point you added, Martijntje, that of course data modeling can also play a role here, probably to see, okay, if the Brussels sprouts are seasonable available, but the composition and the potential applications, and also the costs of preserving them and making them for a longer time, maybe applicable in food products, and you can also connect that to the economic aspects of adding this upcycling step. You can also compare the Brussels sprouts to other type of vegetables, and then see, okay, what are the options to maybe make use of a mix of different sources of different nutritional value. And their data modeling can also come in to make a more fast and accurate decision about what could be those streams that are maybe more interesting to look at and to maybe also create partnerships around to see if you maybe need technology partners or logistic partners or whatever partner who could maybe play a role there to create the mass and to create the product development journey that you need. I realized that we really have an issue with time today. It's really a big challenge, so sorry for that. I try to manage it, but it's a challenge for me. So I would like to maybe share this slide with a QR code on it, because that creates a nice bridge to the question, how can we capture the insights of today and also identify opportunities that we think are relevant to work on, to grow and develop together. And that also could be relevant for follow-up actions in our upcycling community. I would say this is a request to our online audience. Please scan this QR code, answer some of the questions in our survey. And in the meantime, we, our live audience, could maybe also try to identify some of those opportunities. We talked a lot about challenges and barriers, but what do you see maybe from our experts and our pitchers around the table, an opportunity that we could pick up within our community or outside the community, or we have already a nice takeaway for us to say, okay, let's go for that, work on that.
Can I?
Yes, sure.
As we were discussing, so a challenge that I see, and this is not mentioned, you can collect a lot of data, and then you put them in a database, and everybody thinks it's great. If you don't know how those data were obtained via standard methods, they are useless at the end. So, for instance, if I look to LCA data, sustainability, for me this is creative bookkeeping. I don't know what are the assumptions they use, the methods they use. For instance, Bruce McGray, also Diane is working on this. I mean, people in literature compare it to, for instance, soy protein. Sometimes they don't even tell it how they compare. So you can do, it's really so I think that should be so maybe connection between the two four speakers here on the table. So if we have standardized methods, so data should be with methods, not just data.
Sure, and also the way that you obtain indeed those data, but also
correct
analyze them.
Yeah.
Should be at least transparent, but
we do a lot of modeling with Unilever, and it only works if you do it a very standardized way. And of course, you can change methods, but then you should be able to translate one method to the other. For instance, protein solubility, you have different methods. Everybody's using different methods. Maybe if there is a trick, a conversion factor, then you can still compare the data. If you cannot do it, then you cannot use the data.
Jan, would that be an opportunity to work together on? You see that? Because what I see, just a hint that based on your question, we also see that people are really want to go into action, but then on a sort of collaborative action, not just another initiative, right? Because here's already platform that's already there, so this is not just another initiative, I would say. So would that be, or are you already working on that, or how can we, as a group, support on that? Because I think what you're saying is quite valid, and that wasn't really addressed now in the session so far.
We try to, of course, spread the news. We have also working in European collaboration giant leads, so they're also looking to standards. Then at the end, everybody maybe publish a book of standard methods, and then it's up to you to use it or not. So I'm always looking for maybe somebody in authority who more or less demand that if you, for instance, if you are EFSA, you go for novel food legislation, that they say you have to do it in this way, like you do in pharmacy. And then you have pharmacopoeia, which is a book with all kind of methods to analyze. Yeah. I'm not sure if, I mean, it sounds a bit restrictive, but at the end, it may help.
Can I add something to that? Because from our experience, we see that yes, you need to work on both levels in that perspective. So you need to work, my perspective, you need to work on that sort of global commitment, either from a party or from government or from a community in that perspective. And in parallel, you can work on to prove that there is value to address that. If you, sometimes I see, and this is why I mentioned in my introduction, that we're seeing that our work is also moving towards more use case type of proof type of work, because sometimes you can't wait until people on those bodies are that far and they need input from initiatives.
Yeah.
This is why I think working on this one without the other is not going to work in my perspective.
Yeah, that's our experience as well. If you want to have influence on government or legislation, you can always start with building a standard. And if that standard is broadly accepted as the standard, then it becomes input for legislation, or it might become. So, and also, if you have a lot of parties working together on the standard, then you have a lot of more agreement on using it.
Yeah, I agree that it's important to take the parallel perspective, because there are a lot of course, companies working on innovations and want to, of course, also continue, and you don't want to, I think, restrict development. But it would be nice that indeed you maybe could work on commitments to see if you can do case by case, maybe if you do something in the collective and collective initiative, that you say, okay, at least we adopt this way of working, or at least we refer to this standard in what we do now, and not like for the individual organizations, but in our collective approach, we refer to, and at least you already give a bit more of like background or reference to what you think the future could be and how you could, jointly go that direction. So it's a nice suggestion also when we work on initiatives and showcases, for example, in the Upcycled for Food initiative, to consider this as well. How could we maybe also experiment with this upcoming standards and norms to see if we could also apply it to this project. We could do some experiments or some experience in how we could do this.
And I think the example you gave is also very interesting already, protein and soy. Because we were discussing last week with the Food Also Waste initiative. There, regardless upscaling it already for feed, if you can replace soy with alternatives, there's feed for livestock is one of the burdens for CO2. So then there is also an incentive both in euros but also on ESG level and CSRD level. And if you then can also upscale it to human.
On the other side, now if you're standardizing, for example, the way you measure upcycling waste, you only create less flexibility. Well, I think on the other hand, you maybe also want to create more options for upcycling based on seasonality, for example. So if a GS1, for example, creates a QR code and a few months a year, the ingredients is replaced for another ingredient, and therefore you create more upcycling opportunities. That could also be an amazing way to upcycle more. And then, for example, Unilever could produce 3 months a year with Brussels sprouts and 3 months a year with another ingredient. So you create again more seasonality in the supermarket. instead of fixing everything the same way.
Everything angle. Yeah. Yeah, I think Unlink is not a company for that. Small. Yeah, but what I mean is, if everybody's using different methods, I'm not speaking the same language as you do.
No, I understand your point.
And that's happening now at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's about standards. It's about also assumptions, or at least making if you make a claim,
And measuring in the same way. That's
measuring in the same way.
Yeah.
And also when you work on macro propositions, also try to. That's of course what we do also in the upcycling community. Try to align on ways that you reach out to the market, and that you also try to look at it from a collective point of view. But at least I think we should make sure that we integrate those, community type of philosophies within upcoming
Yeah, and
developments.
after at here, it's not just only, well, measuring the same way is ideal, of course, but at least show how you measure it.
Yeah, be transparent.
That's already first step.
And also definitions. I think that the definitions is also a big part of the.
Yeah, I agree. With each data you provide, the method should be mentioned as well, because methods can differ.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's also a request on trying to unify the methods, and concerning a lot of sectors, amongst others the feed sector in Europe. We decided to more unify the measuring methods, and it should be done in the food sector as well, because you already mentioned the protein digestibility, dispersibility can be measured on several methods. I think it's very important for the food sector to unify these methods, and I know by experience that's very hard work, but it is important, and probably it should be looked also as a subject. How can
there
we
is a new
organize that?
development also, as I explained to you, for vegetable and algae proteins. There's also a standard in development. I'm not sure if it's a measurement method or a definition method, but it's newly being developed.
Considering a side stream topic, I think at least it's important that we also include the branch organizations type of actors also in our conversations, because talking about your sphere of influence, I think also those organizations are needed to.
No, it is partly branch organization, but also I see there are a very important task of NEN, because I see unifying the rules in Brussels is often based on standardized methods. So if we don't have the standardized methods, they don't take decisions.
Yeah. I'm afraid that we need to start closing a bit, like we have some things to share, and also I'd like to check in with our online audience, because still see luckily a lot of people there, but we already passed 4:30, so it's about time to start. At first, we'd like to thank all of our speakers today for your contribution. Also you, Asker Martijntje online, thanks a lot. Super relevant, all the insights that we gained. Also, every one of you who completed the survey, thanks a lot. We will, of course, come back to you with the follow-up actions. We would like to also do some small announcements, or at least one that we would like to invite our partners for. There is the 4th of December, because of the 20 years University of Food Valley networking event. That you will receive an invite as a partner in your inbox. You can just follow that registration, but it is also an opportunity to meet and match again on location. So this was a hybrid setup. There it will be all on location, and we hope also for international partners that it's a great opportunity to come to the Netherlands. It's in Arnhem, Papendal, the sports center, the International Olympic Sports Center. So we can host a lot of people there. And before I forget it, we will also share the insights of the meeting today in our newsletter. And for all of you who have nice updates, it can be from your own organization, can also be product launches or whatever. everything that has to do with our upcycling community, please share it with us. Then we can also include it in the newsletter to make sure that we expand our knowledge and our network together. And then for now, we also would like to thank the speakers with a small gift. And maybe this is also the moment then to say goodbye to our online audience. Thank you for being there with us today. And very much looking forward to see you in person soon again.
Thanks.
you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Afternoon and evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.